Okay, so I'm gonna go through the names of every weapon that has poses, and tell you like what had poses added that I'm aware of, what didn't, and try to give rough pricing for everything. Now, I don't know accurate pricing for poses, so please take all of my recommendations with a very heavy grain of salt because I'm just going to say like kind of a value and it's probably above that. But again, so don't trade off of my pricing. I just want to give people an idea of how ridiculously expensive all of this stuff is. So Stillblade very early on from Amethyst, I heard was over 100 mil. I would guess it's around 200 or 300 mil by now, but that's a guess. So again, don't know. Champ, no idea if it was added. Dracos and Demonic also, I don't think have a pose, but we'll see. Uh, Blaze has Reckless. Reckless is on Nutcracker also. For all of these weapons that share poses with another weapon, whichever weapon it comes from that's the cheapest is going to be the one that sets the price typically. That's why Amethyst and Divine and all those the poses are so much more than something like Backlash. But Blaze is a lot more pricey than Nutcracker, so Reckless, I believe, is around 100 mil. It should be above it, but I'm not too sure. You might be able to find people that sell all of these lower than I'm saying. I'm just giving kind of the values I would expect big traders to be trying to get. So again, 100 mil for Reckless. Dahlia's in Cosmetic Shop, the Serenity pose. Cursed Spirit Blade has Cursed pose, which is about 25 to 30 mil, I believe. It could change, so keep that in mind. Backlash, I think, is around 40 mil typically and most of the backlashes are ripped from Winter and Cyber. So that's why they're so cheap. Cyberhammer, I don't know if it has a pose. Darkness Divine Slayer, I don't believe had anything added to them, but we'll see. Demonic Hellfire Axe, I haven't seen an S grade yet. Or actually, I've seen one S grade, but it didn't have a pose. But that was before they added poses being generated back to Mythics, or back to S grade Mythics. Diamond Aegis, I don't believe had anything change. Diamond Shardblade, I don't know that no one has any of them yet. Divine Shadow has Laid Back. Laid Back, last I heard, is getting like 400 mil. So that might be the high end. I don't know, but just keep that in mind. Divine Slayer, I don't believe had anything change. Same with Dragonheart. Eclipse 3 and 4 shouldn't have anything new. Eclipse X shares Backlash, and again, Backlash is one of the cheaper poses that's like 40 mil. So Eclipse X S grade, getting a Backlash off of that, it's still going to be worth like 40 mil. So not great for S grade Eclipse X owners, but kind of rough. Elfin Forcer Last Oath, I believe, is at probably 100 mil by now, but I'm not too sure. It might be at more like 40 or 60. So just keep it in mind. Enigma again shares backlash with a bunch of other weapons, and just because this is the rarest out of all of the backlash items does not make it more valuable. So S Enigma is kind of dead. Eyesight was legendary, shouldn't have a pose. Gemblade has stable, not steady. Steady is S Spirit. Inferno has overdrive. Overdrive is also getting insanely expensive. I think it's also over 100 mil, but not 100% on that. Lotus, I don't believe has a pose. Lumina, I don't know. I haven't seen an S grade yet. Nutcracker shares Reckless, which is again about 100 mil, might be a bit more or less. Olympus has Last Oath shared with S Elf and might be added to Aegis. Olympus Edge was legendary. I don't believe it has a pose, but it could. Pink Pearl is a godly, or sorry, was a godly. I don't think anything happened to it. Protector is the cheapest item that has backlash, and it's the most reasonable to get by far. So if you see a backlash, most of them are going to be ripped off of Prot. Rainbow has Cyclone from Cosmetic Shop, so the S grade might have had it added, so it generates when you make an S grade, but there's no point to S grade this anymore. Spirit Scythe has Steady. Steady's about, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 mil right now. You might be able to find someone that would pay 15 to 20, but I doubt it. Same Cyclone and Serenity. I don't think I mentioned they're both probably about a mil each. People try to charge like 4 mil for Cyclone, and Serenity for some reason people only charge a mil, which seems dumb. People like Serenity more, so I don't know, just strange. Statue's Demise, I haven't seen an S grade yet, so no idea if it has a pose. Triheat has Strike Form. It might be on S Champ now. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen an S Champ on her since update. War does not have a pose. Whirlwind does not have a pose that I know of. Winter shares Backlash. Again, probably second cheapest Backlash item, so most of the ones you see ripped off S grades will be from one of those two weapons. And S Wrath does not have a pose. So that's all the names and the prices. Side note, Sub is planning on selling old poses in Cosmetic Shop. So if you have Laid Back, if you have Stillblade, just keep that in mind that at some point he's probably going to be selling your item in here for like a mil. So, not saying you should panic sell out of S grades currently, but at some point they're going to be worth almost nothing. So, just keep it in mind, abuse the fact that the market is super inflated right now on them, and I would say try to sell out before they get sold, just because you don't want to get caught in that if you're worried about value. If you're worried about having a collection, just get whatever you want, keep it, be happy what you have. So that's it. As far as if you want proof of that, ask anyone that has EA access for the EA chats. Subs talked about it in there. He DM'd me about fixing grading before he put in the fix to add gambling back, and said he is planning on selling poses. So, just keep it in mind. We'll see if he carries out with it. It's not really worth going into more depth for like proof and all that stuff. It's more just keeping it in mind as a possibility. I probably wouldn't trust that he's doing it until we know what S grades are going to have as their new addition, and we see ideally one pose added to Cosmetic Shop. It just, you would hope he doesn't add Laid Back first, and he adds something like Backlash as the show that he's actually going to go through with it. So if he did like Steady and Backlash as the first season he re-adds poses, that would be perfect, because those are both relatively cheap. So if they get nuked, it's not that big of a deal. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. I'll get to it, or someone else will. So have a good one.